Hello and welcome to the Turnbuckle Arms. I am your host, Michael, and I am joined as always by my co-host, Adam. How are you doing today?
Ah, man, thank you for welcoming me to this wonderful establishment. I would have to say, though, if you can get a Madry logo on one of those beer pumps behind us, then I may be invested in having a beer. But it does feel really nice to be a co-host for a change. I've given the reins. As much as I love being the host of Hitting a Turnbuckle, it's nice to hand the reins over every once in a while. And you've drawn the short straw, my friend. But I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Really, really good. So, just to give context to the people out there, we are filming this literally hours after WrestleMania Night 2, WrestleMania 42. That's just happened over the weekend. It was a mixed bag for night one, night two for us both. I think we both agreed off camera that we thought night two was a little bit better. There were certain areas where it could have been improved, but overall, night two was the one for the show, including that fantastic main event between CM Punk and Roman Reigns.
Oh, yes.
So, what is the Turnbuckle Arms? So, the Turnbuckle Arms itself, each and every episode, I will sit down, have a chat, a drink with my co-host and potentially some other co-hosts down the line. No matter what your tipple is, you're always welcome at the Turnbuckle Arms, where we discuss wrestling topics. Now, that could be our favorite tag teams, favorite music, um, favorite wrestlers. So, as always, in this one, I am joined by the Sheamus to my Cesaro, as we've already said. Adam, I was going to say Marty to Sean, but then I stopped beforehand. So,
You're not quite got your probation yet. Sheamus.
hey, Cesaro, I'm not as good looking as him. So, um, basically, what as I said, we discuss wrestling topics. It could be something out in the news right now, or as I said, we take a step back and have a look at other stuff. Then we discuss it. It's as simple as that. And then at the very end, we ask you, the viewers and listeners, what you think and ask for your opinions and your thoughts on the subjects that we've spoken about today. So, with that said, after what was a very mixed bag of content and viewership for WrestleMania, I want to talk about TKO and WWE. Now, just to give a little bit of context, Endeavor was the winning bid, which acquired WWE for an estimated 8.5 billion to 9.3 billion, in which they then formed TKO Group Holdings. It beat Base 10, which was a company backed by AEW president Tony Khan, which submitted a bid of 6.9 billion. Then we had Liberty Media, which is a parent company of Formula One, and then we had KKR, which was a private equity firm. So it was TKO Group was formed in 23 under Endeavor, as we've just said, led by Ari Emanuel. Um, and this is where it gets a little bit strange because Ari Emanuel wasn't about improving wrestling storytelling. It's about maximizing the assets of the value of the company. Now, I've been wanting to do this for quite a long time, ever since TKO was formed. And recently, I have gone backwards and forwards whether or not it is a good move for WWE to be part of TKO. Now, the reason why I say this, I mean, as I said, we'll go into it a little bit further, is companies have to move with times. We all know of a company out there that has not moved with times and has gone under or has been bought out by somebody else to maximize what its value is. So, as it stands at the moment, Endeavor controls WWE as a 51% majority shareholder, with Ari Emanuel as CEO and Nick Khan as WWE president. And we saw the merger shifting control away from the McMahons when obviously it got sold. TKO also own UFC. They now obviously own WWE. They own IMG. Now, if you don't know what IMG is, it's a global sports marketing agency, handling media rights, licensing, and event management. Now, if you've watched WrestleMania over the weekend, you will have seen them advertising FIFA, which is basically what they want. They want you to buy their tickets to watch FIFA, but go through them, maximizing the amount of money that they can make from it. They have an on-location section, which is all about hospitality, a PBR, which is the professional bull riders, which you've probably seen on WWE's YouTube channel, and Zuffa Boxing, which is a professional boxing promotion and joint venture. So, obviously, that's a lot to go into. Um, the argument pro and against. So, is this a good thing from a business point of view? And unfortunately, from a cold business point of view, yes, it is. TKO's buying of it is they need to maximize, and this is where I was wondering about how I felt about it. They need to maximize what they're invested in, and yeah, it's just a hard pill to swallow. Once I did quite a bit of research over this. Um, Initially, what are your thoughts about TKO taking over back in 2023, Adam?
I think that the one thing that surprised me back at them was it was going to be weird, and I know he was there for a period of time, but it was the first time the WWE was ever not fully controlled by McMahon, which was I don't think anyone, even with all the stuff that was going on, you asked any wrestling fan if you believe that Vince McMahon would ever not be the sort of majority shareholder of the company that his father started, no one would have agreed with you at that point, and no one would have said yes. They're going, there was obviously rumors of the Saudi buyout as well. That was another one that was there. My initial
I
thoughts at the time were I was more interested and intrigued was my initial reaction to
Yeah, I mean when they were floating around the names that were coming out, we even had Disney Plus
it.
and Amazon
Yep.
floating around as well, and it's just this is where I've flipped and flopped regarding it. I think we as wrestlers now, to give some again, apologies for this, to show our age. Me and Adam grew up in the 90s watching 80s watching British wrestling, and then when we were able to watch WWE, WCW in the 90s, we saw the product as it was.
Yeah.
As it's grown, it's had to evolve and change. Now, we've seen recently the whole adding commercials, um, changing the way that the aesthetic of WWE looks more polished. It looks more and more like a UFC pay-per-view with the camera angles, the flyby cameras, the 8K, and the sponsorships on the mat. Now, going back to my original thing, um, a lot of people kicked off about the fact that they changed the way that it looked,
Mhm.
and I was one of them. However, going forward, those sponsorships make money.
Yep.
So, from a business point of view, it is good business to do what they are doing. If it's how, and it'll obviously they want to make that investment back with what they spent. Whether or not that then inflicts the storytelling or the way that WWE as a company works is already been seen. I mean, we've looked at how there's been times where it looks like Triple H has not been in charge, even though he's got
Yeah.
the moniker and the name of it. He's been held accountable and blamed regarding certain pay-per-views, certain creativeness. We've recently just seen it on WrestleMania where Pat McAfee was shoehorned in,
Yeah.
even though allegedly nobody wanted him, but Ari Emanuel thinks he's because he's on the new um, Sylvester Stallone TV program. He thinks, obviously, this is according to what we've been told, not what we know. He's the next big thing, so they've shoehorned him in. We've got celebrities being shoehorned in, like Jelly Roll. We've seen it recently where Jelly Roll's giving a pep talk to Randy Orton,
Yeah.
um, and then obviously certain for me, certain celebrities work in a certain way, um, and it's but from a business point of view, it gets people talking, which means the clickbait, the viewership. People don't seem to consume wrestling the way that we used to do. We would sit down and watch it, and then when we were able to, we would record it on Sky.
Yeah.
We now it's all about, as they've openly said, Michael Cole goes on about it all the time. It's all about moments. It's all about that little bit of moment. It's not about watching a 35-minute match. It's about watching the iconic Hulk Hogan Andre the Giant slam. It's more of that than the actual product. Um, and I think that, and as we've always, me and you have both said before, the product itself has been seen um, declining in regards the way that TKO are getting involved or in meddling. It doesn't seem to be that it's um, a WWE thing; it's a TKO with WWE thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you look at it, he essentially WrestleMania like Pat McAfee, he didn't even want to do it originally
Yeah,
either. He didn't want to get involved in that aspect of that. It's one thing bringing in a celebrity or as I call him, an outsider to do something. Like, I show Speed. Look, at the end of that, I didn't really want him in there, but I had a chance to think about it before I reviewed night one on this channel and with Will and David, and I said like the more I thought about it, the more it would have been Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed was injured, Braun Breaker was injured. They had nobody. So I kind of get why Speed was involved. And yes, from a TKO perspective, he's got an outreach that, massive outreach. So I understand to a degree,
yeah,
I understood why they'd done it. When they do it, it's when they do it, like you said, Jelly Roll giving Randy Orton and Rhea Ripley a pep talk. Like, what are we doing here when a music artist thinks he can give a 15-time or 14-time world champion a pep talk and a 5, 6-time, whatever she is now, women's champion, Rhea Ripley, a pep talk on how to win a wrestling contest is outrageous. And then on top of that, when you have a story like Randy and Cody, which writes itself, why do you need to go and bring in somebody else? Granted, Randy was on the phone. You could have had, it could have been Steph. She was on Raw before. It could have been Shane. It could have gone down the Arn Anderson route. You could have brought Arn Anderson in, potentially Ric Flair. I don't know if he's contracted under AEW or what, but you could have brought
yeah.
Ric Flair in. You could have brought somebody in for the story to make sense of Randy being on the phone to someone. But in the end, you bring in somebody with literally no relevance to this story, which, like I've already said, has wrote itself between Randy and Cody, but just bringing them in because they feel like it or they want. It felt like TKO didn't have anything in that main event and they wanted to bring something to it rather than just letting the action and the story speak for itself.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, on night two we saw Jade Cargill versus Rhea Ripley,
Yeah,
and they had someone, I forgot his name. I do apologize. Um, sat at ringside on commentary
yeah,
and didn't do anything. Why they could have done it where Pat McAfee came out um, and as commentators like they normally would do as a special guest,
yeah,
and um, he gets involved in that and gets RKO'd. There are, as you've just said, there are so many different things you could have done with it that wasn't what came out, and it showed that TKO's involvement completely destroyed what a story that you could, as you said, you could have told. Now they tried their best to do it with what they've got, um, but and I think that was almost to believe. I believe it was almost like a quick fix because they got a lot of negativity from it, so they had to put something together purely to make sure that they could at least say, "Oh well, this was always the plan."
yeah.
Um, I just, as I said, I just there are sprinkle from the very beginning. There are sprinklings of TKO's fingerprints over the product. Some that make sense, some that don't. So I just want to bring up a couple of points. So the pros for TKO financial performance. WWE has seen a massive revenue growth under TKO, with reports indicating a 24% increase in Q1 of 2025. That was driven by media rights and high grossing level live events. WrestleMania 41 broke so many records. It brought in over 322 million in the economic impact to Las Vegas. The partnership with UFC has allowed for a tighter business management and creating a premium sports and entertainment juggernaut. Now, we've heard and we've seen in the past that they've streamlined quite a lot of WWE's back office because they want it to all run under one umbrella, which is fine. I get that. You've got too many staff.
Yeah.
You need to streamline it. But and this is where I was going to ask you the next one: has the product suffered? So I feel that, as many people have, we've got high costs. Fans
Mhm.
have reported significant costs increasing for tickets. We've seen that over the recent weeks. We've seen that with the tickets that were going on sale in Glasgow, in the UK, in Italy for the upcoming Clash of the Castle, and especially with WrestleMania drawing in. I believe the so I had a look at this, and if you look at the tickets sold for the weekend 2 years ago, night one outsold both.
Yeah.
That, and I know it was supposed to be in New Orleans this year. I get that. I understand that. But in just 2 years, you've got 30,000 people less each night. That shows that there is something wrong behind the scenes. Now, if they want money, fair enough, fine. We have both openly said the only way that things will stop is if people stop buying stuff.
Yeah.
The problem you've got with that is that you make people more of an elitist, and we've seen the release of the WWE club just a few days ago. You make people be that I'm in this elite group that can afford to do this. By doing that, you are not going to stop prices going down. Live events, you used to go and take your kids with you. I remember going years ago, and it cost me 40 quid to go to London for a live event. Um, the summer after WrestleMania, where the Undertaker beat Kane for the first time, and it cost me 40 quid. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It was fantastic. I know that might have been over 10 years ago. 50, I'm showing my age now. But it just shows you how much of a change, even in 10 years, how big the price increase is. Have you recently gone to any events for WWE? And how have you found that? How have you found it if you have?
No, well, yes, I have. I went last year, but that was through a friend, so I didn't actually have to pay, thankfully, that year. The So to give you a context of to what you just said there, I'll give you a scenario which is absolutely true. I was trying to find my ticket stub before I'd come on, but I couldn't do it. So here's the thing. So I've been very fortunate. I've gone to five WrestleManias in my time. So I've been very fortunate and very privileged to do so. My first WrestleMania I went to was WrestleMania 21 in Los Angeles. You
Yeah,
were there. You went.
yeah,
There you go.
I were
So
there.
you were there. There we go. There we go. So and I paid as a hundred, it was 150, $175 plus event taxes, and I got in the seats where they would bring you your drinks. You could order them as they were, coming in, and it was my first holiday without my parents. It was my first holiday with my friends, and I went for it. I will sod this. We'll do this, and we'll go out. And that was $175. And then to give you another example, I went to the former MEN Arena in I want to say 2005, 2006 when they first done the first ever live Raw taping from the UK. And I paid similar to what you do. I paid £45 plus event taxes to sit um, in before it tiered. It was like you got the front seats and then it tiered up. But you
Yeah,
saw everything. You had a great view of the great view. Nobody was, in front of you, so no one held a sign up, which was great anyway. But you had everything. You could see everything. So fast forward to the last tour, not this one, the last UK tour the WWE went on done in the UK. I've done the Manchester show, and I wanted to see. And I know the arena is now the Co-op Arena, I think it is, or it's a different arena in Manchester now. But I wanted to see if I could get a real sort of similar ticket to the one I got at the MEN, and to see the difference. And I did, and I managed to get it pretty close. I wouldn't be able to say how close, because the arena setup and everything is different, but pretty much like for like tickets for that event was £650 plus event taxes. The WrestleMania tickets that I paid $175 for went for $3,000 now.
it's crazy, isn't it? It's just I get that it's a business. I get that the formula for them is to make money because ultimately they want to carry on. They've obviously got to sort out shareholders and this, that, and the other.
Yep.
But as we've talked about before, we've been long life wrestling fans. We've watched WWE,
Mm.
TNA, WCW, even AEW when it was bad,
Yeah.
and we now I want to bring this up. This isn't a WWE bashing,
No,
okay?
no, no.
This isn't tribal or anything. We have both watched awful wrestling. We have both enjoyed wrestling
Yeah.
from every company. It doesn't matter where it comes from, but you've got to call out something when it needs to be called out. Now, we
Yeah.
aren't the first people to do this. It's just
No.
something that I'd love to have, and thanks to Adam, has given me the platform to be able to do it. I just, as a passionate wrestling fan, who's watched indies on the indie tours and everything in the UK, I just feel that they are alienating a lot of people that they could end up making more money from by um, bringing up the prices. If you have issue, it's the whole thing with if you want to host WrestleMania, how much are you going to pay us?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be that. It should be the gone are the times where you were able to go and enjoy wrestling and just soak up the atmosphere. Whereas now you've got to count your penny. I mean, I've got people that I knew went to like last year. There's no way they're going to pay for it now. No
No.
way at all, because it's jumped in so much. And I know they did it, WWE did it to maximize the amount that they could make from it.
Yeah.
I get that from a business point of view. But
Mhm.
from a fan point of view, if you're expected to be paying 30, 20, 30 grand in total to watch something that was pretty awful for night one, I'd be wanting to ask questions and say, if I went to a show in the UK, a regular indie show, and I paid 19 quid for it and it was awful, I'd be questioning it. So the fact
Mm.
that they've put on a product like they have and the quality has not been there, especially on SmackDown, I'd be quite annoyed to be handing over my money and saying and getting Triple H to basically turn around and say, accept it. It's tough, and that's the thing that gets me. So I just wanted to let you know. So as we've just watched WrestleMania 42, the prices of the tickets because they weren't selling. Some fans feel that it's too much focus on the celebrity involvement over the long term creative storylines, which is obviously what we've talked about. So my next point, I call this a corporate feel versus a wrestling soul. So the shift away from Vince McMahon control has removed chaos, but also some unpredictability. Under TKO, WWE can feel more polished,
Mhm.
more advertiser friendly, and sometimes safer. But it means that they play almost like as we talked about the PG-13. They make sure that
Mhm.
they don't go overboard. Um, how do you feel about the product itself, as in how it looks and how it appeals to the audience?
I think visually it looks great. I mean, you look at the Netflix debut and all the drone footage that they use nowadays, that side of WWE has never had a problem with production. WWE has always, since the Attitude Era, their production has always been movie quality, and that has never changed. Hasn't changed under TKO, but I certainly think there's been a lack of focus in TKO in terms of, as you say, building the storylines a bit. From a looks perspective, it looks fabulous.
Yeah,
And listen, they're still selling tickets no matter how much they cost them. They're still selling them, even if they have to put a load of sales on. They're doing it, and the people are buying it, right? From a look and feel perspective, WWE looks. I always say, like, right. Sometimes the biggest thing is the first look, and it looks great, but then the bell goes and the product lets itself down for me in a lot of ways. And you've mentioned SmackDown. SmackDown hasn't had a good episode in months of SmackDown. Raw
no,
Raw sometimes is built on moments, right? Punk Reigns promo. You'd always sit there and listen because they're going to go over, maybe overstep the mark, and you want to hear what they've got to say. So Raw bit. And Raw's actually had some good action as well when you've got the people on there like Penta and such and such. SmackDown hasn't had a good episode in months. So from an action perspective, it's very much hit and miss, celebrity involvement and all of that stuff. From a looks perspective, though, the product looks fabulous. But the most important part for me and you and a lot of other wrestling fans, it can look great. It's what goes on in that 20 by 20 that we care about, and that is severely lacking right now.
absolutely. As you said, it's the look. The look of it is you can see where the UFC aspect, the way that
Yeah,
it looks, has come across
yeah,
onto WWE TV.
yeah,
WrestleMania, we saw the drone cameras,
yeah,
which at times I felt they they switched to a different camera, especially the Seth Rollins
yeah,
entrance. There was a part where he obviously looked like he was going to be Scorpion or Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat. And as
yeah.
he's come to take his mask off, the camera goes to the wide angle, and you miss it.
Yeah.
It's the old AJ Styles
Royal
Roman Reigns
Rumble.
thing. Yeah, it's and I don't understand why they need to do. I I get it. Sorry, let me start again. I understand why they need to do it from a look at how much of a crowd we've got here and
Mm,
they're all behind him, but you're selling the product. The product is the wrestler. If you
yeah.
aren't if you aren't solely working on that wrestler or match, then your product is going. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at it, your
Mhm.
product is going to fall. And that's what happened in the early years of the 2000s for then WWE, WWF, because they had no competition with WCW
Yeah.
had gone. We've just come out of the Attitude Era. We went
Yeah.
through the point where we were growing stars like John Cena and Randy Orton. And then obviously we had the Eddie Guerrero and that. Um, there was nothing to they kept it safe because there was nothing to challenge them. Now they're wanting to put on a show to bring people in and investors and sponsors. I get that. But for me, as we've said, and we'll say this many a times, the product is better. I don't mind going and watching a product if it's in a car park.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't. If the product is good, I'll watch it. If the product, if you're spending billions upon it, but your product is rubbish, it will it will fail. Now, it's not at a point where tomorrow they're going to close doors. They won't.
No.
They'll all. It's that thing. They'll always make money no matter what. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what they put on, but there needs to be that level where you don't treat one more than the other,
Mhm.
in my opinion. Um, so live events, they're more treated as a luxury event than a fan gathering. Um, the celebrity crossover, as we've talked about,
Yeah.
it fit. It, TKO loves the crossover. It fits their UFC style,
Yeah.
um, but that can also, as we've said, can lead into celebrities taking the moment. The buzz is more centered on them than the actual product. Big moments feel like more of a marketing um, ploy than actually a an organic payoff, like we used to see before social media, was a thing, and even like the dirt sheets was a thing.
Yeah.
It'd be, um, Page coming out. Would it have made more of an impact if we didn't have social media? Because no one would have known.
Hmm.
Um, that's something we potentially could talk about in another episode.
Yeah.
But we come to talent and cost cutting. So reports of tighter contract control suggest WWE's been run more like a sports franchise than an actual WWE company in the past.
Hmm.
Lesser so we've got lesser contracts, potential impact on roster depth long term. So they're buying up people, but only for a little bit. A bit like how WWE used to do, where they wouldn't want a rival to go somewhere else, so they'd spend money. Um, we've got Jordan Grace, for instance, incredible on TNA roster, incredible when she came across to WWE.
Yeah.
They've bought her, used her in TNA, in Impact, sorry, used her in NXT and then on SmackDown, and she's completely lost everything that was about her.
Yeah.
She should have been the next Beth Phoenix. She was a juggernaut, as it said in her name, and they're just, um, I just they don't they don't seem to be, in my eyes, treating it how it used to be. They're treating it more like a, if we don't want you, we'll get rid of you.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I just don't think that the way that the contract layout is, unless you are a big star like Roman Reigns or a Brock Lesnar, if you are not that, then you are basically signed, and then you've got to do as you're told unless they release you. And yeah, I don't know what your feelings are about that.
You look at the people that they lost out, when they lost out to AEW, they went through a phase and they lost some big names, Will Ospreay being one to AEW. They both in for him, but Will chose AEW. Then they tried to criticize him. He wasn't on the grind. The guy travels from the UK to the US every week. There ain't no bigger grind
Yeah,
than that. You look at the ones that then they went through a phase. Forgive me, I can't remember them all, but they went through a phase when Will come in to AEW. About three or four different talents at that point. They lost out. I think Josh Alexander actually may have been one of them as well. That they lost out to TNA too, and for what we don't know the reason. At the end of the day, we don't know. They don't financially. AEW could match them easily, but they may have been offering a far more lucrative offer to people like Will and Josh. We don't know what the WWE offer was. Yes, they got. I mean, you look at Royce Keys, a prime example. The guy debuted in January. We didn't see him until last Friday or the Friday
yeah,
before. And so he's done nothing but dark matches for a certain amount of time. So, you know, I don't care who they bring in, as long as they've got a plan. It's like these NXT call ups. How many times do you get an NXT call up? And I spoke to who's that? Big Con, who used to be on the Ascension. I spoke to
yeah,
him. And I said to him, when the Ascension got called up, it felt like they had no plan, no creative direction for you. You were just called up. And he went, that's exactly what it was. So, like, I know it's a bit of a different change of its own. Maybe that's an episode for us to do. Maybe cover
yeah,
off some of the NXT call ups. Um, but in terms of like their offering, it feels like if they want you and they feel like you can make money, it's more like it doesn't matter how good you are in a ring as long as you can make us some money over here. Whereas with Vince McMahon, yes, you had to make him money, otherwise you'd be nothing.
yeah,
But he did care about what you could do inside again, inside that 20 by 20. Whereas now it feels like, I mean, no disrespect to Danhausen is a prime example of this. WWE probably paid him a nice amount of money because they know they will make that back in shirt sales. And they
yeah,
probably already have, they may have already done that. I think he was second in the merch sales recently when the most recent merch sales come out. So that's a prime example. They brought him in, not necessarily because he's going to put on five-star matches and he's going to wow us with his in-ring ability. What he is going to do, he's going to make people laugh, and ultimately he's going to make them dollars. And that's, I'm not saying Danhausen shouldn't have been signed, but if you ask me who I would rather, a Danhausen or a Will Ospreay, sorry,
yeah,
Danhausen, go and do the indies, my friend. There's only one guy I want in my company, and because will make money, maybe not as much as Danhausen in terms of merchandise, but he will make it. And and that's another reason for me why I think WWE is probably not right. I'm not saying Royce Keys ain't going to make money, by the way, or Will
No,
Hobbs. If they use him right, they've got a megastar. They've made megastars. Obafemi being another one. Obafemi is a massive star. Trick Williams is another big star in the WWE, as
yeah,
long as they get him right. And they've got him right so far. But in terms of signings, I feel as if they're going about it the wrong way now.
yeah. As I said, I know it was a little bit of a tangent
Mm,
regarding the contract thing. It's
yeah,
just that it's something that's come up while I was looking into researching for this episode. It was that there's a lot of, as I said, it's less sentimental contracts, more
yeah,
ROI driven decisions,
yeah,
potential impact on roster long term. I was just curious because I thought I'd just put this together as part of a TKO episode
yeah,
just to see what your thoughts were. And as you said, yeah, Danhausen isn't going to be one of these that's going to be main event.
yeah.
But as you said, he debuted. He wasn't the best debut ever,
No,
but he wasn't the worst.
no.
But literally the night after on Raw, they got what they needed from him, as in
Yeah,
they knew what track to put him on, and
yeah.
ever since then he's been fantastic.
Hmm.
I believe he's one of the very few people that have got pretty much 4 or 5 t-shirts within 4 weeks of starting there.
Yeah, yeah,
And as you said, it just shows you that they can make money from that.
yeah.
And that's what ultimately that's what they want. Even if he doesn't wrestle at all, if they can make money from you, then they will keep you on
And
the
there's also
books.
another bit of this. It's like the seasons, right? I know this is going to sound like a really stupid thing. What do you think they're going to do at Halloween?
Yeah,
How much money are they going to make at Halloween by selling his stuff? What?
yeah,
They're not stupid about that, right? They're going to know. And they also like you've got 4 or 5 shirts now. They're going to put him on TV. He will get an even further greater TV presence when they know they can hit that market hard with stuff that people are going to buy.
yeah, absolutely. Um, as you said, it won't surprise me. You've got your capes, you've got. It won't surprise me if you can buy WWE sell makeup for him.
Oh, believe me, anything's possible now. I
Anything,
think.
yeah, anything. It's just crazy regarding him. So, what's the verdict regarding TKO and WWE? So, for me, TKO hasn't hurt WWE. This is where I really struggled to put this down, and it was hard to put this down.
Mhm,
It has, from a business point of view, it hasn't hurt it.
mhm.
From a wrestling's fans point of view, it has. But what's changed within WWE? If you see WWE as a business, it's thriving like it's never before.
Yeah,
We are in a time where this was the right time to sell to another company. If you see WWE as a creative storytelling product, then there are valid concerns, as we've already
yeah.
discussed. Can WWE stay creatively compelling while being run like a corporate sports event? Sports asset.
Mm.
That's the real long-term test, not revenue. What do you think regarding that?
Right now, when as we're talking, I think TKO from a fan, yeah, and again, you're right. You have to look at it from a two-part perspective here because I find it hard to give you one answer around it because you have to look at it from two different aspects. Business wise, they'll be fine because and they are going to be good for business, but which may affect business if you keep trying to rip fans off, especially when the product isn't great. And I tell you and I'm not saying AEW are ripping fans off, but the moment AEW's product dropped, they were hit hard in ticket sales. We've seen the venues of 500-600 people showed up because their product wasn't there, right?
Yeah,
WWE, that I'm not saying they're going to only have 500 or 600 people turn up, but the product will drop. The difference is right now, and I was talking to David about this, is their product is slipping. In my view, AEW product right now is thriving right now with everything that they're doing. So you're going to get fans that think, you know what, I didn't like AEW, but I'm hating this. I'm going to take a look. and then they'll start losing fans. So, from my view, TKO from a business perspective, yes, it'll be fine, but ultimately, from a fan's perspective, is bad for business and is very bad for business, and that will have a knock-on effect on their business if they don't find that happy medium between the two.
Yeah, it's like a football or a soccer team, isn't it?
Mm.
You'll pay to go watch your team,
Yeah.
even if they play awfully,
Hmm.
very awful, and get beat every week. But
Hmm.
you have that loyalty to them.
Yeah. Hmm.
Now, we both do this um, for the love of doing it.
Yeah.
Um, we we will watch wrestling no matter what,
Oh
whether
yeah.
it be death match wrestling,
Yeah.
um, Sandman versus the Invisible Man wrestling, anything like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. We are not tribalistic. We are not only one place. I will call, as we both said earlier, if WWE are bad, we will call it out. If
Yeah.
AEW are bad, we will call it out.
Hmm.
And a lot of people will say, yeah, but look at how many people WWE are getting into stadiums. Don't forget, they've got like 20, 30 years on play. I think a lot of people
Yeah.
forget that WWE have been going longer than WrestleMania 1 back in what not back in
70 or
86.
80 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, and you've got WCW that unfortunately went through a patch where they were, as they openly claimed, the patients took over
Yeah.
the asylum.
Yeah.
They were spending stupid amount of money, and then when Turner decided to sell to AOL, AOL decided to go, do you know what? It's not viable. It's not making money. Let's get shut
Mhm.
of it, which is obviously why WCW folded.
Yeah.
Um, but as I said, no matter what, the product needs to be good. They will always, as you said, they will always make money. They will never go under, will
Yeah.
WWE. It's
No.
just for me and you, and potentially people out there who are listening or watching this. I just think that we can agree that the product um, has unfortunately been overshadowed by other things that they want to push.
You got to think
So,
though, just on the slight side as a final thing, they've had their warning with WCW in the past.
mm,
They're on the course of making the same mistake here. And
yeah.
when if AEW did get the opportunity, they're in a position to take it.
Well, this is the thing, as you rightly said, it's not a this is a brand new thing that's happened. We've
No.
seen it in the past with smaller territories going under, being absorbed by somebody else.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that it feels that TKO are running WWE more than WWE, i.e., like with Road Dogg being
Yeah.
creative head being let go. There's been a revolving door in the past of
Yeah.
creative people, creative writers. Some Triple H seems to be the fall guy, even if it's not him.
Hmm.
Ultimately, if you are going to be the face of that company, then you have to be accountable for whether you like it or not, and that is a given thing. Even if you say it's not Triple H's fault, and it's on Nick Khan's, but ultimately they are the faces of the business, so they have to be held accountable.
Yeah.
They are the voices for us. So I'd like to just finish off on a couple of questions and just get your opinions.
Hmm.
So, is WWE becoming too premium for its own fan base?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
1,000,000%. A million
Okay.
percent. I mean, look,
Uh,
sorry, just to add what you said about the Clash in the Castle stuff in Italy.
yeah.
£9,995 package, tickets, everything, and you get to make pasta with a WWE superstar.
Danhausen. That'll be it. It won't be Roman Reigns. It'll be Danhausen.
The Mania one, the same price or 10, 20 grand. Bus ride with Cody Rhodes.
10 grand and
Bus
it's sold
ride.
out.
Bus ride.
Yeah, and it's sold out.
Yeah, 32 people, I think it was. I mean, they limited because obviously you can get 32 people on a bus. So what was that? $320,000 they've made.
Yeah.
That's about in
And
less. Oh, well, on location, so WWE will get a markup of
yeah,
320,000. So
yeah. But as we said, if things like that are going on and you're becoming an elitist, then WWE will not drop anything because they can make money from it.
Yeah.
So on to my next question. Does financial, well, which we've already established, so we'll just finish this one off. Does financial success uh, excuse weak storytelling?
No, it doesn't, and it shouldn't do. You've got people there. Well, I suppose it depends who's influencing it, right? Because we kind of already said here, Pat McAfee, that come from Ari Emanuel, who knows shit from apple butter about wrestling. We don't really know creatively. Me and you, we could probably do a better job, but we still don't necessarily. We don't necessarily know what goes on. Ari Emanuel comes in. Yeah, you need to bring Pat McAfee into this. Great. Well, okay, that's then a struggle, right? Because
Yeah,
we don't, where does he fit? How is he going to come in? How are we going to do it to make it look, it feels like TKO thinks we're stupid. Like Pat McAfee coming to Randy Orton, 0 cents. There was no explanation really as to why he was involved. So it shouldn't make the weaken the product, but when you've got people there that don't know what they're doing, telling the people that do know what they're doing, you need to add this guy in, then it does make it work. Then it does impact the product. Yes.
and so finally, and most importantly, would you rather WWE be creatively risky or financially unstoppable?
Well, from a fan's perspective, they have to be creative. They're creatively risky. You
Yeah,
can do that without becoming financially unstoppable. You could do both. If you had the right balance. At the moment, TKO are just seeming from what we hear, and this is all what we hear. And
yeah,
Nick Khan's always been that guy. Nick Khan has always been, he's the guy that turns around in the interview and goes, I don't have an out of office. I don't believe in it. You call me, I'm going to pick up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he is business. Nick, what I mean, WWE, Nick Khan for him. What without being disrespectful, because I know he ain't gonna watch it, and I know he doesn't give a shit about what everyone says because he's pretty much said it. But he seems to be, if you had a Mr. McMahon's Kiss My Ass Club,
yeah,
you had an Ari Emanuel's Kiss My Ass Club, Nick Khan would be first in line. And he
yeah.
would do it without because that's what he does. But he's good at what he does. He's very good at what he does. So, for me, I suppose, what was the question? Because I went off on a tangent.
Would do you think WWE can be creatively risky, or is it basically money?
Well, they all they care about is money, but you can do an element of both if you have the right people doing the right job without being influenced by the people that don't know what they're doing, trying to influence it.
Absolutely. I mean, regarding the creativity riskiness, we've seen it in the past.
Yeah.
So why do you need to change that? Now, you don't.
Yeah. Worryingly, mate, I can't hear you.
You,
Oh, you're back now. I
what
couldn't
about
hear
now?
you. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That was Ari
the
Emanuel
Wi-Fi,
pressing the mute
yeah,
button.
the Wi-Fi in the pub went down. Sorry. But no, it's we've seen it before. They know how to do the product. They
Yeah.
know how to do stories.
Yeah.
They've done fantastic stories in the past. They don't need. This is one of the only times where you turn around to a wrestling company and say, "Do not change.
Yeah.
You don't need to change anything.
No.
Just spend the money making it look lovely, but don't change anything that's on screen
Yeah.
because it's perfect."
Yeah.
WWE, even before TKO took over, were doing some really, really good numbers,
Yeah.
and the product was brilliant. Fans were loving it, absolutely loving it. It just feels that they've, it just feels that the reins have been taken, pardon the pun, the reins have been taken away from WWE,
Yeah.
but being told, it's all right, you're running it, but run it past us first.
Yeah.
And that's and I think that's for me that's the problem. It's TKO is good for business as in regarding money, but I think as a product, as we said earlier, I think it's lacking in what it needs to do to justify what it's asking fans to spend and to
Yeah.
invest in. If they can lift that up, then people will gladly spend 20 grand on tickets because they know they're getting the best that they are going to get for that money. if they are going to spend 20 grand and get WrestleMania 9, then
Yeah,
people are going to complain.
yeah,
And that's ultimately the question. So, to be honest, the answer for today's question is debatable. It is, if you look at it from a business point of view. It
yeah,
isn't, if you look at it from a fan point of view.
yeah,
So, once again, and this is opening it up to the people out there, the viewers and listeners, I asked the question: is TKO good for the WWE? And that's today's show. So, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, as always, for Adam to join me in the new premises of the Turnbuckle Arms. Just before we go, I want to do some plugs regarding the channel. So, if you don't know, we've got an immense amount of content on the channel right now, beforehand and coming up. We've got a new series that features me and Adam, called From the Vault, where we take a deep dive into some old retro wrestling. Uh, we both watched and reviewed the original Clash of the Champions from WCW. That's now on the channel. Our very own Adam sat down and spoke to um, the Ring of Honor Pure Women's Champion, Deonna Purrazzo.
mhm.
He got her to work out some uh, English slang words, wasn't it?
Was, yeah.
And whether or not she likes a pork pie. So,
Yes.
so you'll have to check that one out. And we've already mentioned him on the channel. There is a interview with the Ascension's Big Con, which is a really good one to check out. Jake Christ, former uh, Impact champion, and we've got new top lists on there. So we've got a top list of WWE Hardcore Champions,
Mhm.
featuring Adam David. We've got top 10 WrestleManias featuring our very own Adam, and I Love Wrestling podcast. Was it Justin that you were
Justin
with?
Wolbine, yep, Justin Wolbine.
Yep, so he's on there. And coming up, myself, Adam, and a list from our very own David. It's top 10 greatest cruiserweight champions.
Yeah.
So that's coming up very soon. And as I said, what I want you to do is enjoy the episode that I've done. It's been something that I've done on socials for quite a while. It's something I've wanted to do, and thanks to Adam and HTT Buckle channel, it's something I've been able to bring back. So my love to Adam and the channel to say thank you for bringing it back. Um, Before we go, I just want to ask Adam if there's anything he wants to plug.
Yeah, Ignite Wrestling, May 3rd. The end game, could be that for many reasons. The end game is coming with 14 tickets left. 96 Eventbrite, go and get your tickets. 14 available. Our own Turnbuckle champion Chris Aries will make his first defense of Z Championship. He is the now first ever Grand Slam champion as well. He'll be going against Denzel Mack. We will have Tommy Tanner against Joe Lando for the Ignite Championship, and Danny Black versus Jada Williams versus Corey McCray in a triple threat match. Aluna returns. She takes on the debut of Violet Knight, and we have a breakout match as well. AJ Payne versus Regan Blade. And unfortunately, the Rebellions, Taylor James, Tool Tom Mercer, and Ryan Curran will all be there. So I'm going to get my words mixed up because I'm so annoyed with them. Tom Mercer and Ryan Curran will take on the returning EM0, and Taylor James will go face to face with Ignite General Manager CJ Carter. So get your tickets out. Coming up in the next few weeks on this very channel, an interview with Stanley Carr, who is a podcaster. He's wrote a book about his interviews. That's coming up. The NWA Talking Territory series will return with Man Bun Jesus. Yes, that is
Wow.
his name. He is coming up. We're going to be also doing an NWA spotlight with someone really new to the NWA, but a name is synonymous in wrestling. His name is first name is Hayden. His last name though is Backlund, and yes, he is related to Bob Backlund as well. Independent Showcase will return with Brox Boulder and Katrina Creed, and Independent Showcase Scotland will feature Austin Brooks. And I'm going to be recording at today is Monday, by the way, as Michael said, and I'm going to be doing an Independent Showcase Australian episode tonight with another talent from Australia. There's lots more that I can't announce just yet, but I will hopefully be announcing very, very soon. But HTT Buckle everywhere will find us.
As you said, absolutely. There's so much stuff to check on the channel. You can find me on the socials, X, Instagram, and Threads at Wrestling with the Bear. And you can also find me on the same Instagram, and Threads at Jonna's Podcasting Network, where I share the best in British wrestling and indie wrestling, as well as giving a shout out to some of our podcasting friends, just to basically get more eyes on them, get them to get you to check out some of uh, their uh, their great content that they're making. So once again, I want to say thank you to Adam for joining me on this episode. It's been a bit of a weird one. I do appreciate you for sticking with us, but as I said, I'd love to know what you think out there. You can put it on the socials. As I said, you'll be able to find the HTT Buckle channel. Stick it on the comments below. You can find us on X, Instagram, and yeah, absolutely brilliant. Thanks for joining us, and then as always, thanks Adam for joining me to have a discussion, which was a bit of a mouthful today.
It was indeed.
So I
But
do.
I'll have to sign it off with saying HTT Buckle everywhere. We'll be back again with another one of these and more so. But until then, everybody, we're closing the doors of the Turnbuckle Arms. Until next
Yeah.
time, buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.